Okay, here's the question we left you for homework. How many of you have done it?
I did it right.
Yeah. That's good. So 3 of you out of the whole class managed to get homework done. That's pure dead brilliant, that is. Right. Let's just go through this problem very, very quickly. The question is, what mass of potassium sulfate is formed from 27 grams of potassium hydroxide? And I must have given you the equation, did I? Right, so the first thing we do is we put in, it's the same routine every single time. We start off with the equation. And that equation tells us immediately that 2 moles of potassium hydroxide react with 1 mole of sulfuric acid. So we can go straight from the equation to writing down the number of moles underneath. Now, from yesterday, what is the next step? We've got that information in the equation. What happens next? Yeah.
Put the weight or the amount of 27.
Okay, so where does the 27 grams go?
Under the thing you're meant to be. Out.
So I think we're told, because I haven't got the question in front of me as I'm doing this, we've got 27 grams of potassium hydroxide. And what are we asked to calculate? Mass of potassium sulfate, is it? Yeah. Right, now we've got 27 grams here. What is the only thing that we can possibly do next? Turn into moles. So we've got step 1. Yep, equation, that tells us the moles reacting. Step 2, we put in the piece of information that we've given. Now that piece of information would allow us to calculate absolutely everything in that equation. But in fact, we're only asked to calculate the potassium sulfate. So we start with that mass. We'll turn it into moles. 27 divided by 56, because that's the molar mass of potassium hydroxide. And that comes out at 0.482 moles. Now, if we've got 0.482 moles under the potassium hydroxide, what can we then do? What's the next step going to be? We know that number of moles there. We know the amount of potassium hydroxide. What do we immediately know from that equation? Once we've got the amount of potassium hydroxide fixed, what else do we automatically know? What other amounts do we know? Yeah, so what else can we write in underneath that equation once we've got that number there? Right, so what will H2SO4 be? We've got if that's 2 moles, that's 1 mole. So if that's 0.482, that has to be 0.241, 0.241, and 0.482. Everyone see that? Yeah? It's critical. Yeah, that's all there is to an awful lot of calculations in chemistry. We've got the equation. That tells us the number of particles that are reacting. We immediately change that into moles, our little bag of particles. So if we've got 1 bag of particles here, we've got 2 bags of particles here, 1 and 2. That step follows every calculation in chemistry from a chemical equation. We're given 27 grams. To a chemist, 27 grams is meaningless. It has to be turned into what? Moles. We've done that. Now that we know there's 0.482 moles of potassium hydroxide, we know from that equation there has to be 0.241 moles of sulfuric acid reacting, 0.241 moles of potassium sulfate produced, and 0.482 moles. Now we could go right through. We now know there's 0.241 moles of that. What is the only thing we can do with a number of moles? Turn it into. Sure, that's it. Now, which one of those quantities or amounts of material are we asked to do the calculation of? Potassium sulfate. But if you just went blindly through that and calculated the mass of sulfuric, the mass of potassium sulfate, the mass of water, that'd be all right. Because in amongst that layout would be the answer to the question. But at this point, you do use your brains a little bit. You check out which quantity it is that you need to do the calculation of. You don't need to work out everything. And so the last step is solve for the other reactants and products. We know how many moles of potassium sulfate there are. We want to get the mass. There we go. 41.8 grams. How many of you got 41.8 grams? Okay, nobody got 41.8 grams. Did anyone do the homework last night?
Yeah, but I know what I got wrong.
Yeah, same.
So you got it. Do you see where it goes now?
I wrote it down wrong.
You wrote it down wrong. You're a big numpty. Look, what you have to do is follow my idiot-proof program. This is chemistry for numpties, chemistry for dummies. You don't think, don't use your brains. It's dangerous. Leave that to me. You just do the little programs I
What
tell
did you call us?
A numpty, it's a Glasgow word actually, a numpty. It
I know
means-
what a numpty is.
Right, fine. It's the same thing as a midget or a twit.
It's basically a way of calling stupid.
Oh,
It's a term of endearment. It's not a numpty's not a nasty word.
sounds like a
No,
fucking
no,
It's
numpty.
not a nasty word, it's just like, they're going to do stupid things.
Yeah, a numpty. I prefer it to midget. Anyway, now I've got to stop this. How the heck do I stop this? F12, wasn't it?